Well, for most people, the idea of public speaking is absolutely terrifying, often ranked as one of the biggest fears in life. And for some, cop this, it's even scarier than death. But words delivered by a powerful orator in a confident and inspiring can change lives.
Professional
orator.
speaker.
Workplaces and even nations. Gee, I've died a few times on this show, Tash. And while most of those in power do it right, some get it oh so wrong, some of those orators.
You think Peanut's got problems anyway. So what are the do's and don'ts of public speaking, and just who said it best? For more on this, we're joined this morning by body language and voice expert Dr. Louise Mahler. Louise, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Good morning.
Let's start with the basics. Can you help Larry? No, I'm kidding.
Beyond help, as it turns out, Louise, beyond help.
Public speaking, is it about how you say it, or is it more about what you're saying?
Oh, it's about how you say it, absolutely, every time. You know, when we're here, it's not me versus you. What it is engagement, and that engagement comes from the body. It comes from the vocal tone. And over and over and over, research shows that these are the critical things that you need.
Now, let's talk about Prime Minister Scott Morrison for a moment. He's been under fire lately in regards to his handling of some issues, especially in regards to women. What is he getting right? And, Louise, what's he getting wrong?
Well, you know, I think we're witnessing the death of the baby boomer male, really, and there are a few mannerisms here that are driving me insane. The first one is that he often has his head tilted back. Now, this can be for many reasons. It can be just habit. It can be because of neck injury, but it will always be interpreted as arrogance, and this is something people don't like. And then when you add to that, actually, the mouth comes down. This says, again, it could be just habit, but it says my conversation is final, it's not debatable. And thirdly, there's a weird rhetoric. So when he spoke about getting results for Australian women, I think, wow, that's really weird, old-fashioned rhetoric. Then he talks about will require. Well, will it? You know, that's a bit dogmatic. And then he says it will require listening, collaboration and working together. Well, I think collaboration and working together are the same thing. But anyways, following the rule of three. But what then doesn't work for me is at the end of phrases when he's reading, he actually looks down. So he'll say, and working together, and looks down. And again, that's not connecting with your audience. These are mannerisms of disconnection.
So, Louise, sticking with the Prime Minister for a moment, we've seen him get quite emotional lately. Mr Morrison even mentioning his family during public speeches. Let's take a listen.
I owe them everything. And to them, I say to you girls, I will not let you down.
Could see he was getting quite upset there. Do you think his emotion comes across as sincere and genuine?
Yes, look, I think it was sincere for his family. And, you know, I get the impression, cynic me, but I get the impression one of the minders has said, you know, emotion, very popular at the moment, go it. And so he can get very emotional about his family, and that's sincere. What happened after that was he started to speak then about women, and the emotion dropped. So the real emotion is for the family, but when you combine the lack of emotion for women and then making statements about a Prime Minister for women, I think this is showing a disconnection and a lack of understanding for women in general, separate from the family.
OK, now in contrast, let's move on to someone you think is getting it right. Which political leader currently masters public speaking, do you reckon?
Oh, Jacinda Ardern. You know, worldwide, everyone's saying, there's your example.
Yeah, she's fabulous, isn't she?
What do you think makes her so great?
Well, she has a structure. I've watched her a lot. And whether she's at a lectern and speaking, she has a strong structure. But when she's lying on her bed doing something with her iPhone, something for Facebook, she has a similar structure. She's very structured. But then she changes her style depending on the different forums. So she can be very upright, she can be very relaxed and a lot of gesturing and, you know, different emotion. inflection and the voice moving. But what she does that's so fantastic, that's coming back in, that we're not seeing with our Australian politicians, is she's actually smiling. And when she smiles, she does what's called an American smile. She opens her mouth often so that you could fit 2 fingers between the mouth. Hi, hi, hi. She'll do this and people love it. It has messages of I'm open, I'm caring. There is no blockage to my communication.
OK, let's move on to the US now. President Joe Biden, he's getting sort of mixed reviews for his speeches. What is his body language telling us?
Well, Larry, speaking is a tough game and it requires the energy of the youth and the wisdom of the older man. And unfortunately, Biden has lost his energy of youth. You know, is there anything more pathetic than seeing him running on stage? I think, oh, please don't do that. He's just got that little bit too old. And I think what you're finding is he can manage the everyday. But when it comes to speaking, he's going blank. He's losing his train of thought. Now, having said that, on the weekend, he actually had a briefing where he was addressed by the media and he just stopped speaking and walked out, and people said that he went blank. I listened to that, and the question from the media was very confused, and I think that actually he just made a choice to leave the stage. You know, he was using that wisdom. So it's hard to see, but he is old.
Louise, we've spoken about a lot of politicians who have a public platform. What are some of the tips you can give people, even something as a public speech that they may be making or a school assembly speech?
Yeah, well, I'd love to give some tips about body and, you know, keep your mouth open and relaxed. Actually relax your head because this shows defensiveness when we jam it. And keep the eyes steady, but they're softened by blinking. And I say to people, those 3 are nod, blink, smile like an idiot. Nod, blink, smile like an idiot. That will save your life. And keep it conversational. You know, the old rhetoric of the planet, what does that mean to us, is gone. We need to be a lot more conversational. And lastly, they say, how do you get over nerves? And the answer is, you don't. You learn how to deal with it. And how you learn to deal with it is actually moving the energy from the upper body to the lower body. The muscles of the lower body can take that strain. The upper body needs to be free. And as I said, nod, blink, smile like an idiot.
And 2 fingers in your mouth. Louise, lovely to talk to you as always. Bye now.